Hi guys, Orange here. Oh right, I haven't uploaded in a couple months. Sorry about that. That's just my upload schedule now, whenever I feel like it. I am here with none other than my draft analysis for the Lake Guardian Association. It's time for some background. Prepare the somewhat educational content. Most of you don't know me. If you're watching Real GA, welcome, and new viewers, welcome too. Old viewers, remind them of the upload schedule. It's time you all got to know why I'm in the LGA. Fade to black. The short answer is my good friend Bruno7. You might know him. He has said nothing but nice things about LGA. I've known him since I started playing the format in 2016. So when I got a chance to purposely bother him about Draft League, how could I say no to that? But really, why would I branch out to another league that I know one, maybe two people in? The answer, my training arc. I really like Pokemon Draft League, and I admit that I've come super far as a player considering everything I've done. However, I'm always driven to improve further. It's not like my success in life is tied to how well I do it. That's just stupid. But it's hard to not want to improve when I have friends who do so well in other leagues, and I feel so far behind them. My journey to improve began with content creators. Specifically, it began with an old DGBA video. While my relationship with DGBA is spotty at best, they did provide me with a direct look into the brain of Zazo, or Iron Fosh Gaming, one of the best draft players of all time. I took notes on how he built a team. My next stop was the 13 best tips to improve at Pokemon Draft League. As cliche as this sounds, Professor Shuckle was a champion at the highest levels of play, specifically in DPL. And the video was instrumental in how I viewed my draft games from then on. This was practically the equivalent of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, but for fantasy football pocket monsters. But by far, Addison's guides were amazing. I was never paying attention to the Wi-Fi scene in Gen 8, but she published some great guides that will definitely help me out here. The Draft League Academia videos and live streams were and still are great content to learn from. I took notes from all of these and put them into one document. I won't publish that because it's terribly organized and frankly terrible looking, but I hope if I do upload the rest of the season, and not just this video, that I can point out the concepts that these three people have tried their best to articulate for peons such as myself. I want to see if I can use these concepts in LGA. Let the anime training arc commence. Fade to black again! Oh right, you're here for the draft analysis, not the over-convoluted anime-inspired training arc. 100 points to spend on exactly 10 Pokemon, with each Pokemon assigned a value between 1 and 20, with 20 being the most expensive. Drafting after the Indigo Disc DLC has been out for roughly a month. A new metagame where I could thrive if I could get a good roster to build and play with for 9 weeks in playoffs, if I even made it there. So I went in wanting to try a few things. I really wanted to try out the pairing of Hoopa U and Hattery. Why? I had never used them, and Hoopa looks like I don't need a brain to use it. Win-win. Rain, because, rain. Same thing, really. I don't need a brain for that. This always gets thrown aside, though, either in Grace Period or when I realize I am not Bruno and will not get Rain alongside Kieran Black, Jirachi, and Landorus Therian while farming 13-year-olds using Smoking Tears. I decided to build around Hoopa and Hattery. I was so proud of myself when I made a good practice draft. I don't normally do any planning before my first pick, besides looking at the rules on the draft board. And I won't be doing that again! I'm 15th. I'm close to a wheel, which is not a bad thing, but I really want a Great Tusk with my Hoopa and Hatterene plan. Odds of me getting Great Tusk, one of the best Pokemon ever, are pretty much slim to none. My plan, and the half hour I spent on it, is worthless! So it was back to the drawing board. I should mention that Bruno, along with a few of my close friends, are helping me build this too. Shoutouts to all of them, because I seriously needed help when I was stuck. I should also mention that there are 64 players in this league, with 16 players per division and 9 weeks of play. We have 100 points for exactly 10 Pokemon. No more, no less. Without further ado, the initial picks for the Clef Keys LGA Season 4 run. With Pokemon like Dragapult, Kyurem, Great Tusk, Meowscarada, Palafin, and countless other S-tier Pokemon going before me, the pressure mounted. When it eventually got to me, I decided to settle on a Pokemon I had never used or played against before. Ogerpon Hearthflame is a Pokemon I admit I know very little about. What I do know is that Ogerpon has a ton of tools that make it stand out on the draft board. These include a powerful stab combination that will light up anything that doesn't resist them. These can be amplified into the traits of a strong sweeper, with Swords Dance and Trailblaze. U-Turn, Synthesis, Encore, and Knockoff give plenty of utility while allowing our fiery friend to shine bright. It's also blazing fast. Base 110 speed ties Pokemon like Latios. I love Mold Breaker on this Pokemon as well. Ignoring Unaware, Rough Skin, and other abilities is never a bad thing. My Pokemon has a lot of drawbacks though. It's very weak to hazards and can't hold an item. While the typing has a few defensive benefits, Ogerpon also lacks a few resists that would be really nice for a grass or fire type to resist, like being neutral to both fire and water. We'll have to work on that. Since I'm this close to the wheel, it isn't long before I have to consider a partner for Ogerpon. I knew there was a good chance it wasn't going to come back to me, so I didn't hesitate at all to select this next Pokemon. Walking Wake. I am never one to try the new toys when they come out, but everyone has gotten their chance to try it, and it's my turn now. I love the additions Walking Wake received in DLC, including new utility moves like Flip Turn and Knockoff, which greatly help its arsenal outside of Hydro Steam and Draco Meteor. It's also a Paradox Pokemon. It can utilize Booster Energy to buff one of its stats. I think everyone watching realizes the archetype I might be trying to achieve in LGA this season. Don't worry, the rest of the league did too! Well, so much for subtlety. Oh, he's not happy about that. Oh, he's really not happy about that. Wait, what? He's going to take both? That's not good. Otherwise, I'd be stuck with, like, Sableye or something. Let's not have that happen, please. Maybe he's bluffing. Maybe he's bluffing. This is fine. This is okay. Replan. What's available in Grace? Darkrai? Let's do Darkrai. Perfect. Wonderful. Maybe we can do this. Maybe he's bluffing. He has to bluff, right? This is a bluff. He wouldn't take both. You stack up between your weaknesses. Come on. We can do this. Shit. I immediately start to replan. It isn't looking good. I wait with bated breath, and sure enough, they take Torkoal. More time passes. Eventually the smoke clears, and they take Rillaboom. My draft is saved. If you can guess what my next pick might possibly be, Ninetales. After that little scare, we are back in business. Ninetales provides the sun for Walking Wake and Ogerpon. It isn't much about what Ninetales itself can do besides set sun. It can Baton Pass, unlike Torkoal, and get into Sun of Users safely. Base 100 speed, hits decently hard, nasty plot, what's not to love? Take another look at the draft board. I'm not really sure where to go from here though. Uxie crosses my mind, as well as various other Pokemon like Hatterene. I want to support my Sun Core as much as I can, and free up both of my breakers to actually do the breaking. Okay, well, how about a Steel type? I'm not in love with Registeel, and I do consider Earthworm, especially if I can Terra it, like Bruno did in PPL. But I've been here before. I don't want to draft something too passive. I need hazards, yes, but I also need a Steel type that doesn't drain my momentum. After a bit of a debate, I lock in my pick. I can't be the only one who looks at this Pokemon, so I need to take it now. Gudra Hisui is a Pokemon that stood in my way plenty of times. Just recently, I had the horror of preparing for it and seeing the calcs for myself, as it ate by Vikavolt and Greninja alive in PPO. I like standard Gudra fine, but I've always been annoyed whenever I've had to prepare for this gooey mess. It's time to see what it's like on my side. Obviously, the insanity of the bulk cannot be understated. 80 base HP, 150 special defense, and 100 defense are nothing to sneeze at. Amazing setup options in Shelter and Curse, and phasing in Dragon Tail. You can't forget Knockoff, Full Beam coverage, or even counters options in the builder too. While it's not a true resist to anything on paper, Gudra is just so fat that it doesn't care what the type chart says. In my eyes, until a strong enough Fairy type Breaker or Sweeper comes along, Gudra is my fair resistance. It was right about here I remembered I had an Ogerpon that desperately needed hazards off the field if I wanted to bring it in more than twice a game. Hitmontop was next. By now, I had a more refined plan, start stacking up on bulk so that way my breakers can focus on breaking. But Hitmontop is, weird. It has rapid spin, which is the main reason I picked it up, but this thing lives in my head as the textbook definition of average. It has Intimidate to help with physical threats and give me technical priority too. It just never seems to stand out, and I'll be honest, I prefer Hitmonlee. I'm hoping it can change my mind though. To pair with this, I had options. I had been avoiding a Fairy type all draft in hopes that I could somehow squeeze Hatterene in here to assist with hazard prevention. Sadly, this was looking less and less likely as my budget began to shrink. Instead, Bruno suggested a few rounds back that I look at Dash Bud. I have never used this thing either, but it passes Wishes, has Body Press, and Iron Defense, along with a unique ability giving it an immunity to Fire. This is massive on a Sun archetype, because Sun affects both players. I did not want to have to use Walking Wake as my swap into a Choice Band Adamant Reckless Boosted Flare Blitz from an Embor. Instead, I could use this Bagel Dog thing. I'm excited to try it. While I needed these next picks, otherwise I was screwed, these all went down without a hitch. I wish I could say I was excited to take Gligar. Without reliable recovery, this Pokemon is as passive as ever. However, it gives me my first Rock Setter and Spikes, which are super important in this generation. At the very least, it can use momentum like U-Turn to get in something more productive. Rotom, the regular one. I love Rotom, ever since I had it all the way back in UPBA Season 3. This little spooky boy is a staple of mine by now. Volt Switch, Will-O-Wisp, Hex, and various coverage moves assist in creating one of the best Pokemon to disrupt and cause havoc. People who do not prefer Rotom sorely regret it. Nasty Plot is a favorite of mine too, but I just love this little light bulb. I don't care how it does, this Pokemon is great, and I will not hear Regislayed. Second to last, welcome Azelf, the mascot of LGA. My second rocker, a great speed tier for the roster outside of Sun, and a great breaker and lead. We stand Azelf here, though the last time I've drafted this thing was in Gen 7. Let's see if Azelf is mad at me for not drafting it and preferring both of his brethren over it. Finally, the Pokemon I'm most excited to try. Shiftry got a lot of love this generation, with access to its new ability Wind Rider and Explosion creating great lead scenarios even outside of Sun. It even gets some niche moves it didn't have before, Toxic Spikes especially as a highlight. We can't disregard its old tricks with Chlorophyll either. I've also decided to make it my Terra Captain, which means you can choose any type at all to turn into, which is super cool up until I have to prep for it in the first week. And there you have it, our LGA Season 4 roster. Not too bad, it has some issues, but this is workable. Thanks again to everyone who helped me build the roster, and to those who are going to help me improve and use the concept I've learned. Thanks to the LGA staff team for letting me play, that's a pretty cool thing too. Like, subscribe, and all that, and maybe you'll get another video in a couple months. Peace.